The fourth essential is that the willingness must be expressed with a view to obtain the assent. All these points are just coming from the definition. If you remember, the definition is a party expressing his willingness to do or not to do something with a view to obtain the assent. The same point is given as our fourth essential. So yeah, first essential talks about who's an offerer, offeree, promiser, and all that, and the second essential talks about the expression of willingness, and the third essential talks about the with a view to there must be a view to obtain the assent, and it can be positive or negative. Okay, these are the four essentials of an offer. Pretty simple. And now it talks about kinds of offer. Kinds of offer based on how it is made and to whom it is made. We'll see. On basis based of how it is made, we have express offer, implied offer. How it is made is in the sense it may be like express or implied. Express is something which is, as you already saw, express contract and implied contract. Express is something which is made in words, and implied is by actions. To whom it is made is a general. General offer is something which is made to public in general, and specific offer is made to a person in specific. Okay. Now we have further classifications: general, special. We have seen this, and there's one more classification: counter, which is just the same offer being made to each other without knowing. This doesn't constitute to be an offer. Okay, and then we have a cross offer and a standing offer. We'll see all this in detail. So the first category is the general offer. General offer is nothing but, as I told you, it's an offer made to public at large, and hence anyone can accept and do the desired act. Okay, anyone can accept. Here we have a very important case law: Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. Okay, so again, in terms of section 8 of the act, remember, general offer is given by section 8 of the act. Anyone performing the conditions of the offer can be considered as having accepted the order. So here, if you see, in the general offer, uh, they will make an offer, and acceptance, you need not give the acceptance in words or something like that. Okay, acceptance, just doing the conditions of the offer, we can consider that to be accepted. Okay, if you see, it's for an agreement, it's really important to have an offer plus acceptance. Okay, usually general offers are made via newspaper advertisements or something like that. So we can't expect everyone reading that newspaper advertisement to give acceptance in written form and all that. So by default, law gives a rule saying that everyone who performs the condition of that offer in newspaper, they'll give so and so condition. If so and so condition is fulfilled, we'll give this much of consideration and all that. So the moment they perform the conditions or advertised in the newspaper or whatever, we can consider that to be accepted, and we can consider that to be, once offer when accepted, it's a, when there's a mutual consideration, it's an agreement. Okay, until the general offer is retracted or withdrawn. So usually they can't have a particular offer forever, right? We'll have some deadline and all that. Until the point of time it is withdrawn or retracted, taken back, until the time it is done, we can whoever just performs the conditions of that, we can consider that to be accepted, and it is an offer. So we'll see what is there in this Carlyle versus Carbolic Smoke Ball Company. So here, this particular smoke ball company advertised in several newspapers that a reward of euro 100 would be given. So if you see, the year is 1893, and all these are, I mean, UK laws. So that's why we see amounts in euros and all, because we had their rule. Right. So person who contracted influenza, after using the smoke balls, whoever contracted influenza will be given euro $100. So this is just to get that product into the markets very seriously. I mean, the particular smoke ball company manufacturer is very confident that his particular smoke balls do not contract influenza and all that. So that's the reason we have this kind of challenge given in the newspaper. Okay. So, but one lady, Mrs. Carlyle, she used the smoke balls and she was contracted with influenza, and she claimed this money. But this particular, again, when she went to court of law, that particular smoke ball company manufacturer said you did not accept the order, so there was no proper agreement and all that. Then court of law said in case of general order, the moment the conditions, what is the condition here? Using the smoke ball, right? The moment the condition is fulfilled, that offer can be considered to be accepted, and there will be a proper agreement and contract coming into picture. So she is eligible for the claim amount. That was the decision given. Remember, it's Carlyle versus Carlyle Smoke Balls Company case law. And we have for general offer, we have like two case laws. The other case law is Lalman Shukla versus Gauri Dutt. This is very interesting case law. So here, Gauri Dutt is a master and Lalman is a servant. So Gauri Dutt gave a newspaper ad saying that whoever traces his missing nephew would be given a certain award. But this particular man, he doesn't know that there was such an offer made and all that. But he traced his nephew. Lalman traced his nephew without knowing that there is this reward and all that. So now the question is, can he claim the reward? No. If you remember, for a general offer, the condition is first you should be aware of that particular offer. Okay, you should be aware, and after being aware, if you do that conditions here, tracing the nephew is the condition, only then that is considered to be accepted. Without knowing the offer, if you just uh, fulfill that conditions and if you go for claim, that is not at all permissible. Before doing the conditions, you will get to know you should know what the offer is. Only then you can claim the amount. So for general offer, the first case law in the Carlyle versus Corbelic Smoke Balls Company case law, what did we see? The moment conditions of the offer are done, it is considered to be accepted. And in the second case, before performing the condition, that particular person should know what is the offer made and all that. Only when he knows that the offer is made, then he can claim the reward amount or whatever. Without knowing, he can't. Okay, and then we have special or specific offer. When the offer is made to a specific or an uncertain person, sorry, specific or an ascertained person, it is known as specific offer. Specific offer can be accepted only by that specified person to whom the offer is made. Okay, specific and general offer are quite opposite to each other. General is made to public in large, but whereas specific is made to an ascertained, a particular person, specific person, and offer can be accepted only by that specific person. So here we have this case law of Bolton versus Jones. Bolton versus Jones was a simple case law, which was not described here. I'll just quickly take you through the background. It's that Jones is a customer. He made his order for goods to a shopkeeper. The shopkeeper, this is an other shopkeeper. He sent a list of goods that I am purchasing so and so goods and all that. But uh, by the time that particular list of goods reached to the shopkeeper, the shop was already sold to Bolton. Okay, Jones sent that particular list of goods thinking to be the other shopkeeper. But before the list reached, that was the shop was sold to Bolton. Now Bolton says, no matter what, Jones should buy goods from him. But this is a specific offer. Jones made the offer to the other shopkeeper. This being a specific offer, Bolton cannot force Jones to buy the goods and pay the amount. So that's the significance of the specific offer. When a specific offer is made to a specific person, it, only that person should accept. Only when that person accepts, it becomes a proper agreement and a contract. When the other person accepts, then it doesn't become a proper agreement contract. So that's the essence of the specific offer. Now we'll see what a cross offer is. Cross offer is when two parties exchange identical offers in ignorance. Okay, both the parties do not know, but they exchange the identical offers. So these are mostly nowadays when the offers are being made on telephone. This has got no significance, because without ignorance of each other, no party can make offer to each other. So these are at the times of when there were letters. So one party used to post the letter saying that we'll buy your car for 2 lakhs, and the other party is sending a letter that I want to purchase your car for 2 lakhs. So it's just the same offer but was made ignorance at the, I mean ignorance, both the parties do not know that the other party is making an offer. So in this case, there's, if you see, the essence is that there should be a offer and acceptance. So here there are just two offers, so this can't be an offer, fine. And if you see the same example, A makes a proposal for 2 lakhs to sell car to the B without knowing proposal of A offers to purchase the same. It's not an acceptance, because A has made an offer, B has made an offer. So it can't be a binding contract in such case. Counter offer. We'll see what a counter offer is. When an offeree offers to qualified acceptance of the offer subject to modifications and variations in the terms. Okay, offer is ready to accept, but he says subject to, I want these terms and all that. If you see the example, A offers to sell the plot for 10 lakhs and B agrees to buy provided it's not for 10 lakhs, it is for 8 lakhs. So in this case, the original offer of 10 lakhs becomes lapse. Now this new offer of 8 lakhs comes into existence. So in case of counter offer, there's a rejection of the original offer. So the original offer comes to lapse. It is also called as conditional accept. Okay, now standing or continuing or open offer, which is allowed to remain open for acceptance over a period of time, just like tenders. For tenders, they give the last date is 30th September. So till that time, that is open. It is remained open till that time. So these are the types of offer: general offer, specific offer, cross offer, counter offer. Cross offer is not an offer because there is no acceptance there, just the two offers, and then counter offer, standing or continuing. So we'll learn essentials of a valid offer.